Welcome to the Corporate to Coach podcast. I'm Pamela, a former corporate professional turned certified life and business coach and mentor. If you're ready to sign clients, grow your soul-led coaching business, and shed the employee identity so you can step fully into business ownership, you're in the right place. Let's begin. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Corporate to Coach podcast. I am very excited to introduce today's guest, Janae Kellogg. She is a fitness and nutrition coach. She has over 15 years experience in the fitness industry, and Janae brings a deep passion to her coaching by helping women learn to love their bodies through holistic, sustainable methods. Janae believes that you can still build a fit, healthy, strong body without burning yourself out. Her experience and expertise comes from her own journey of battling with food and body image for much of her life, as well as studying and learning the field and working both in person and online with clients. I absolutely love Janae. I have been following her and we have been connected for quite a few years now, actually. So I'm so happy to be able to bring Janae to the podcast. So welcome and thank you for being here.
Thank you. I am so excited and honestly just very honored to be here with you today. And I can't wait to talk about all the things. Thank you for the lovely introduction. That was so sweet of you.
Amazing. So there are a few things that I want to explore with you today, but I know that you have obviously you've been in the industry for 15 years, but you do a lot of work with women, business owners, coaches, and women who are like flying in life. We're building businesses, we're doing really big, juicy, scary things. And fitting fitness and nutrition in around that is a challenge, even for people like me who really enjoy having that as a part of our life. There's always an aspect of making sure you're taking the time to do it well, because it's easy to pretend you're doing fitness and nutrition or claim that you're healthy and that you work out. But there is a difference between doing it for the sake of it versus doing it with intention and actually
Yes.
creating results from it.
Yeah. I love the word that you use intention because working out and training with intention are two very, very different things. And I think, you can work out for years, but are you putting in the right effort? Are you consistent? Or are you just using your workouts to like zone out and escape life, right?
Mm,
Versus are you really pushing your body? Are you executing the exercises correctly? Are you fueling your body properly? It's two very, very different things, right? Which is going to determine the end result as well.
yeah, this is literally me in a nutshell. I've worked out all my life,
Mm.
always
Mm-hmm.
perceived myself to be someone generally healthy, but
Yeah.
never did it with intention. So I would go to the gym, but never really see results. I didn't even know what results I was aiming for. It was,
Mm-hmm.
the fitness was there, the weight was fine within reason. There was never any outcome, but I was also acutely aware that fitness is a way of life too. Like, it's not something that you're doing just to achieve something. It is something you do to sustain a healthy body and mobility and like longevity, which is definitely a shift, to be fair, in more
Yeah.
recent thinking. In my 20s, it was very much like workout so that I could feel good and fit into clothes and have some kind of body
Mm-hmm.
confidence, I think. But now in my late 30s, I definitely think more about mobility and longevity and bone density and growing
Yeah.
older and supporting perimenopause and menopause when that comes. There's so much expectation on the female body to look a certain way, but I don't think
Yes.
anyone really knows how to do it well and do it in a way that's good for us from a mindset perspective
And
too.
doesn't burn you out, right?
Right.
Because I think a lot of women are in that trap where, I mean, even at our age, right? I think we're around the same age.
Yeah.
And growing up, it was like everywhere around you was all these different diets. I mean, I was like the magazine queen. I probably
Same.
still have a lot of those magazines, right? Where it's like you look through the Oxygen magazine and you wanted to do all these workouts to look like her or whatever. And it was just like all about being thin and skinny. And I'm also of the mindset now, like to touch on what you said, that you can feel amazing and look amazing at the same time. And I think a lot of people have this misidea or whatever you want to call it, this misconception that you have to pick between the two. You're either working out for health and longevity, or you're working out for aesthetic goals to look a certain way. And I do not think they have to be separate at all. And that's the way I coach as well, where it's like, no, you can actually have both. And that's where I've gotten myself to be too. Like, you don't have to pick one or the other. It doesn't have to be that extreme. I was saying to my boyfriend the other day, I feel like I'm the fitness coach who is like, sees the gray area and things. It doesn't have to be one way. You don't have to eat just chicken and rice, but you also don't have to eat just junk food. Like, there's an in between, which is where we want to get you to be, right?
Yes. I love that so much. You do get to have both. So I've seen this in your content. What does it mean to be what you phrase as skinny fat? What is that? And how do you know if
Yeah.
that's what you are?
I love that. I love that. And I also like I started using that term because I was like, I gotta just say it the way it is.
Right.
Because sometimes like people are really sensitive online and they're like, oh, you can't say certain words and whatever. But I'm like, this is literally the best way to say it. So the way I would describe it in simplest terms is like if you are skinny fat, you are not like overweight, but you also like might look a little soft, right? So you might be of a normal weight, but you also don't have that much muscle. You
Mm.
have a higher percentage of body fat, but to the outside eye, you're still like pretty small. You're a smaller body, right? You just don't have much muscle definition because your body fat is higher, but you also don't have the muscle to show that definition. So fittish could be another word, I guess, that you could call
Okay.
it.
I am realizing that was 100% me 2 years ago for probably a good 10 years of my life, for sure.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Like small,
Yeah.
fit into clothes, fine.
Right.
The
Hmm.
like could go shopping okay and whatever, but like in the changing rooms, it wasn't an empowering experience for sure. It was just like find something that fits me. And when I get home and I'm in the comfort of my own home, then I can like dress it up and feel good. But
Hmm.
so yeah, like body size was fine, but form wasn't there, strength wasn't there. And it showed in the gym because I didn't know what I was doing when I'd go to the gym. And I'd go
Yeah.
and what my partner calls have a little pump, which I like hate when he says now. And then and then versus what it is to actually train and build strength and see strength, even though like when I'm not obviously flexing or in the gym, like everything looks still like soft, but also it's different. It's not just soft, it is
Yeah.
actually toned, which is really, really different, I think.
And I think something that you said here, I want to bounce on that quick is like body size versus body composition,
Mm.
right? I actually have a picture, I should send it to you sometime, of a coach that I saved many years ago as an example of body recomposition because in both pictures she is the same exact weight. But in the before picture, you can clearly see her body fat is a lot higher. There's really no muscle definition. And in the second photo, she is so much leaner. She does look smaller, but I mean, you can see her abs, you can see her muscle definition because her body fat is lower because she's also built more muscle.
Mm.
So again, you could have two people side by side that are the same exact weight, but if one is skinny fat and one is like fit and lean, the body types are going to look very, very different, even if they're the same weight because of the ratio of body fat to muscle.
And you also just said lean, which I think is interesting. Like when I grew up and those magazines I used to read, everything was like be toned and lean. Whereas,
Mm.
like, please tell me in the audience, my understanding is that toned and lean is actually strong as fuck. Actually
Yes,
having like muscle definition,
most of the
strength.
time.
Lean is
Yeah.
actually strength. And I even have friends now who say, I don't want to strength trains, I don't want to build muscle or bulk. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure
You're going to be lean then.
if you want to get toned and lean, that is building
Yeah.
strength and muscle. But tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. And I think another way to maybe look at it is like lean is not the same thing as being skinny. I would say that skinny is like are very small, maybe underweight. Like I used to be like that, right? I was like 98 pounds at my lowest. It was terrible. I was so unhealthy.
Right.
And I was very
I work
skinny
in stone. I have no idea. I've got my phone. Let me
to,
check.
yeah, figure it out, and
Yeah, I
I'll
have
continue
because
my
this
story
it doesn't mean anything.
because
Two sec.
in your world it'll be different. Um, but so that's like skinny and lean are two different things because lean, in order to get lean, you have to have muscle first. So you build the muscle and you drop the body fat, the muscles pop through. That's how you get that toned look or look lean. That's very different than being, I think, just skinny, where it's like, yeah, that girl is skinny, but she has no muscle,
Hmm.
right? That's not the goal of most people. Most people want to look like they've got, like, you could see their delts and their abs and maybe the quads and stuff like that. Like, that's the look that most people want to get to, but you have to build muscle to achieve that.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does to me at least. And what does the role, and by the way, 98 pounds is 44.5 kg.
Okay. So that helps you understand.
That if yeah, if that helps the listeners understand, it helps me understand for sure. And if
That's
you don't
very,
mind me
very, very, very
asking
small.
to help put that into perspective, how tall are you?
Well, feet, I'm 5'4", which is like 164
Five
centimeters.
four. Okay, cool. So yeah,
Yeah.
gosh, that
So
is
not
really
super short, but I'm not a tall person. People always think I'm taller than I am. I think it's the bun.
yeah, same. I should definitely start wearing a bun more.
Are we like the same height too?
I'm 5 foot.
You are? I
Yeah,
always thought you were like my height.
I wish.
Online, though, you never know. You literally never know if you don't meet a person in
Yeah.
person. So
Yeah. So what role does nutrition play when it comes to being toned and lean and strong versus
mhm.
skinny fat, especially with the example of your client who was the same weight but a completely different body composition? What like
Yeah.
is there a cut and dry, this is the rule across all humans, it's 50-50, or does the weighting of nutrition versus fitness vary per person? And
Yeah.
when it comes to nutrition, like what role does that play?
The best way to describe it is like, okay, if you're skinny fat and you want to build more of a fit and lean body, most likely you are going to need to spend more time building muscle. And what I have seen over the years and in myself and in my clients is like most women are not eating enough.
Oh,
Like we just talked about before the podcast, how like growing up, our whole our whole upbringing was like calories so I can weigh less, right? And dieting. So a lot of women are so terrified to eat more because they think if I want to get leaner, then how can I eat more? That's just going to make me gain weight, right? Doesn't make sense in their heads. But if you're not eating enough, and I won't get into a rabbit hole of this, but you're not going to be able to build the muscle that you want. It affects your hormones and your metabolism, especially if you've been spending years not eating enough. And and in kind of a woo-woo type of way, if you're not eating enough for a very, very long time, let's just say years, your body does not feel safe enough to let go of body fat. And there are people who argue against this. We won't get into that. But when you start to increase your calories very slow and controlled, I call it a reverse diet. It's a very strategic method of increasing calories slowly so your body adjusts so that you're not just like all of a sudden eating 1,000 more calories a day. You got to let your body adjust, right? Paired with a proper strength training program, that is a key piece of body recomp because now you're using that food to fuel your workouts. So it's like you're giving the food a reason, like you're giving it a purpose. You're not just sitting around doing nothing and eating more food, but you are able to have more energy for your workouts. You're getting stronger. And the only way to really change your body composition is through strength training. Now, we don't stay there forever. And I really want to do like I want to do my own podcast. My goodness, this is making me excited. But I'm going to make some content on this, on the importance of like, you go through a building phase where you're building muscle, getting your calories up, and then you do maybe a cutting phase where like the diet phase for a period of time. Then you go back into the cut and doing different cycles of building and cutting over time is what's really going to change your shape. But that's also those are the pieces that most women they either don't know how to do or they don't want to because they're so afraid to gain weight if they eat more food. So they're always in this deficit, which is why their bodies never change.
And
Yeah.
from what I've gleaned over the years with a couple of friends who are PTs and done body and nutrition and fitness coaching, is that this is one of those where
Hmm.
it's like, don't try this at home, in the sense of, if you're resonating with what Janae's saying, like truly hire her. Don't try and attempt this yourself, because
Hmm.
to actually do it in a safe way and have, because I one of the things I adore about you is that you understand the mindset piece.
Yeah.
And this is the room where I know everyone listening will appreciate the value of mindset. We're all coaches here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that safety piece around being safe to eat more, that is actually really profound, really quite deep. I can you say more about that?
Oh, yes. It gives me goosebumps because it's, it is so tough. It's like, I mean, if someone struggles with food, whether they undereat or overeat, it's not as easy as just like, just eat more or just eat less.
Mm,
Hello, that doesn't work. There's a reason they're struggling with that, right? There's a lot of mindset pieces to it. And I mean, I went through the same thing with myself. Like literally there was a point in my life where I was so scared to eat more. I was like, the worst thing that could happen is if I ate more and gained 10 pounds. I thought that was like the end of the world. This fear was so big in my mind, nobody could break through it. I had to do a lot of work on myself to be able to like chip away at it and finally break through it, which is also the importance of having a coach that understands it because inevitably, if you try to put yourself through this reverse diet where you know your calories have to go up because you're not eating enough for the goals that you want, you're going to hit moments where you're freaking out and you're like, the scale jumped up 5 pounds. Oh my gosh, now I got to go back into a deficit. And then you cut calories again. And you're never going to get anywhere if you do that. So yeah, I mean, you can't do it on your own when the mindset pieces are there that are holding you back. You need a coach who's going to be able to be like, to remind you, like, no, we're doing this for your long term goals, right? We're doing this for your future self.
mm.
And doesn't mean you gain fat if the scale went up. It's just water weight because you're eating more carbs now, or you haven't taken a poop. Maybe that's why. So, like, I like having a coach to that is so important. I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't have the coaches that I've had because, I was so stuck in my head. And those fears, like, if you've ever gone through anything where you're like, you have this like block and it might not make sense to anybody else, but it's so powerful in your own like, your mind is so powerful, like,
Mm.
more than anything. It's the most powerful thing, so it's like, if you can retrain it or shift it into a different way, you'll be unstoppable, and I also think it's one of the hardest things, like, going to the gym and working out is easy, right? For the most part,
Yeah, I mean, it's
but the
easy to show
mindset.
up and do something, but
Yeah,
is it working? Is it changing anything other than just the immediate,
mindset
like,
piece.
pheromones and yeah.
Easy to go throw around some weights, but changing your mindset around how you're doing it or why you're doing it or any of this other food stuff is like the hard part.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing
So,
that. This is something we were discussing earlier as well. When it comes to good eating habits, both undereating, overeating, I know for a fact, if you ask my partner, he'll definitely agree with this. It can be 2 o'clock sometimes, and I'm like, oh fuck, I'm starving. Oh, I need to find some food, and then because I work from home. I run a
yeah,
business. I don't have like a cafeteria to go to. When I'm in flow, you said earlier, like when you're in flow, like you're in launch or you're in your content creation or you're just back to back with coaching calls. So for the like
yeah,
business owner who's listening to this and the woman working from home, how do we navigate that challenge?
yeah. It is so hard sometimes. And I'll admit some days there's like, oh crap, like my lunch is really late because yeah, I was in the flow with this project and I really didn't want to stop just to go eat. So let me just finish this first, right? It happens to a lot of us and it is really hard when you're at home. But I think this is also where it is important to plan ahead. Like I always tell my clients too, like plan ahead. Otherwise you are going to be more likely to grab whatever you can get your hands on because you're so hungry, whether it's chips, crackers, whatever else, like is easy because you're so hungry. So planning ahead is definitely the first thing. And then one thing that I do is I've done this for years. I have mealtime reminders set in my phone. So if you can work with your schedule, knowing you kind of get up around the same time, maybe you can take a break in the afternoon around the same time. Like, if possible, try to control your schedule as much as possible with like calls and different things like that. So you have time to eat. And then just decide, I feel really good eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner at these times, or however you want to structure your meals. I do like 4 meals a day. So I just set reminders in my phone. Now, I don't always follow it to a T. I mean, I'm human, like you said. It's hard sometimes to just remember to go eat that, and your day kind of gets mixed up. But I think planning ahead, having that reminder set is really, really important. And if you have to prepare your food and just be like, I'm going to make my sandwich the day before so it's ready, then all I have to do is grab it. I don't have to take the time to put it together, because that is daunting in itself where you're like, prepare like this meal and I don't want to take the time to do it. Um, but even just like simplifying, I always do a protein shake for breakfast because I know it's the easiest thing to get my day started and it doesn't take a lot of time.
Yeah. I definitely find the prepping, if I can, like in two ways, like prepping in terms of buying snacks that I know are like protein heavy and really good so
Hmm.
that if I am snacky, I know that when I have something to reach for that's like helpful and
Yeah.
not just unhealthy. And we've been doing this for about a year now, but doing oats the night before
Oh
and
yeah, like overnight oats.
overnight,
Hmm.
yeah, protein heavy overnight oats. And in the morning, on the rare occasion, for whatever reason, maybe we were out the night before and we didn't do it. The morning is like, oh my God, what do, oh, then like the decision
Yeah.
fatigue of like pulling all the ingredients together and just
Hmm.
making it. It's like when you can start the day with that already decided,
Yeah.
it's amazing. It definitely made a difference to me for sure. So I hear you on the planning.
Yeah. Like
I'm
you're already
now
making so many
realizing,
decisions in a day.
oh, we
Like
do.
so many decisions, especially when you're running your own business. So that's why a lot of times people will get these snack attacks, is what I call them, at night, because I'm like, you are literally completely out of decision making energy by the end of the day. That's why you want to eat everything in the house at night, because you've done so much. And so then it's like, I want to eat this, this, and this because I'm just tired. So it's like the more you plan out everything as much as you can, it doesn't have to be to a T, but it really does leave a lot less room for error.
Mm. I want to ask you about, because you've also done competitions,
Mhm. Yep.
and I want to hear all about it. Because so far we've been talking about, for the average woman who's just casually building her empire and like the
Yeah.
challenges of that. But you've gone from like you said earlier, like underweight, 44.5 kg. Was that the right trans?
I don't remember.
Did I do it right? I think it was 44. Yeah.
I've never been
44
able to do
point.
math in my head.
You went from 98 pounds to to competition. And that is like to me that sounds like an extreme of maybe, is it fair to say, not having a great relationship with your body and nutrition
Yeah,
to taking
definitely.
it to its peak, which, and I know competitions can be challenging from a mindset perspective
Mhm.
as well as the physical perspective. I think to do competition safely and to do as many as you've done, I
Yeah.
imagine that is, I'm guessing it's a representation of the turnaround you've had with the relationship you've had with your body. But tell me,
Yeah.
is that the case? Is that how it was for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the really fun fact about all this is like I wanted to compete for about 9 years before I finally stepped on stage.
Oh, okay.
So, I did my first show in 2019 and I started personal training in 2010. So that was so it's been a little over 15 years. So I started as a personal trainer and one of my coworkers was really into competing. He was really, really good. And I went to his show and that was the first time I'd ever been exposed to the bodybuilding world. And I was like, I could do that. Look at those girls with that. I could do that. And I had no idea what was involved. And then I had multiple people ask me if I've ever thought about competing. And I'm like, I don't even know what competing is. Like, what are you talking about? But because I was around it and I, was able to learn and ask him a lot of questions, like I knew my goal was to compete, but I had so much work to do on myself. and my relationship with food, my relationship with my body, not to mention like getting my body to a healthier place where I could compete. And so one of my mantras during that time was, if I want to compete, I have to eat. Because kid you not, it's even to this day, it's still easier for me to just not eat. Like I've come so far from those days, but the fear isn't there anymore like it was back then. But, I still don't have a huge appetite, so I kind of have to force myself sometimes. But like I use my desire to compete as motivation to really do the work on myself. I was like, well, I can't compete when I'm just skinny because like this isn't a skinny competition. This is a bodybuilding competition. So I knew I had to build muscle. I knew I had to get my food up, and that was really, like, the driving force for me to keep going because I wanted to compete so badly. I knew, like, if I wanted to do it in a healthy way, like, I had to take my time, and it really was an empowering experience, and for some people, competing does the opposite, and it kind of triggers something where afterwards they don't have a good relationship with food or their body. But for me, it was like the whole process taught me what pro- properly fueling your body can do for yourself. Because I saw and felt how much better I could feel and look by actually fueling my body properly. And it was really awesome to see as we manipulated the food and the training piece, like how my body changed. And it was so empowering to me. And it's like every time I competed, every prep I did, I would learn something else about myself. And I'd really learn like how food impacts how you look. And it's just fascinating. Like I really like to look at it as like a type of art. Your body is like the canvas, and then you've got the posing, but you have to have a strong mindset going into it as well. You have to go into it with the right reasons, and the mindset piece is even more important if you're going to compete because it is tough. It is tough. But I was also able to do it in a way where I didn't like harm my health like some girls do. And it's funny you mentioned that because for a long time I've been wanting to coach more athletes. I've coached a few athletes to stage, but I really want to show people like you can do it without completely ruining your health or your relationship with food. It doesn't have to be that way. Like it can be a positive thing.
Because I have a few friends who have competed. I'm remembering that's the first time I'd ever heard of reverse dieting because
Mm,
to after the competition, when they had to kind of go back to normal life, you can't just go from really strict nutrition routine to just
yeah.
eating what you used to eat. You actually have to
Right.
reverse that process too, and allow your
Yeah.
and rest as well. Like the importance of rest, I never fully
Mhm.
appreciated until I spoke to friends who had gone into competition, and that's always stayed with me. The importance of like resting is
Yeah.
as critical as the workout itself,
Yep.
and I don't know if many people know that. Could you speak a little bit about that too, the importance of rest? And
Yeah.
this isn't just relevant for people who are training for competitions or bodybuilding,
Yeah.
everyone, right?
Anybody listening to this, and yeah, that's a really big piece of my philosophy now as a coach too. I mean, I used to be the girl where I was like, I took so much pride in never taking a day off. I remember when I was in college, I had this desk calendar, and I still remember this so clearly because I was very obsessed back then still. But every day I would either walk or run and or do some type of workout and check it off, like check off the day, like it was accomplished. And I never took it was like how many days in a row can I get doing this? But I actually think through competing is where I really learned the power of rest as well because I hit a point after one of my last shows. I've done 6 shows. So I think it was like after my 5th show that I this really hit me. I tried to work out and my body literally said no. And I was like, I can't do this. It was like the first time in my life where I was like she's not cooperating here?
Wow. What do
And
you
ever
mean when you
since
said your body
then,
said no? Like literally what happened?
yeah. Like I remember trying to do my workout and it was just like I just couldn't. It was like my body was just like sludge. I just couldn't do it. I had no energy, which was very weird for me because I'm a very high energy person. And even when I was really, really under eating, I always had energy for my workouts, no matter what. So it was really weird for me to feel that. But it really was a turning point for me because after that, I started working with a different coach who really specialized in teaching women how to get their hormones balanced and their metabolism back to a healthy place, especially after competing. And when he switched my workouts to be like so much more simple than what I was doing before, I was like, holy cow, like in the past, I would have thought this is so boring, but it really helped me realize, this is the way. That's when I started to dive more into like the hormones, the metabolism, all of the other layer of stuff. But what I've come to realize over the years, you cannot go, go, go all the time, whether that's in your fitness or in your business or in life, and not expect to hit burnout, especially as a woman.
Mm.
Like you are going to hit that at some point because we are not made the same as men. That's not a bad thing. It's just like we don't have as much capacity as men to be doing all of these things. And like rest is just as important. One of my mentors years ago, I remember her telling me, and she's a very high achieving woman. She actually owns the business that I teach classes for. So I've known her many, many years. And she goes, rest is being productive. Like where we think if I'm resting, I'm not being as productive, but it's like that's a different form of being productive, right? Because when you rest, your muscles recover, your body recharges. You probably have these ideas come in for your business. But if you're always on the go, there's no room for that stuff. So, yeah, I mean, I take so much more rest now than I ever used to. And like, I feel better. I look better because I take more rest.
Yes.
So,
And I love what you said earlier about going like almost simplifying the workouts as well. This is
mhm.
something that I picked up, especially in one of your containers that I was in. Oh my God, we was talking about this earlier. Was it about 5 months
I
ago?
think it was last fall. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was it
Time
was the
is
one I did about
flying.
training. It was all focused on training stuff.
Right. And you were doing a demo on RDLs, Romanian deadlifts. And it was such a balm to me because I wouldn't say I'm a perfectionist, but well, when it comes to doing something that you do almost like every week, I certainly say to myself, I should know what I'm doing by now. But I
Mhm.
if a PT catches me and they're always like tweaking my form or giving me like feedback to I guess perfect it is the word because there is a correct way or a non-correct way to do it. You're
Right.
either doing it correctly
Yeah.
or you're not. And you shared that even now you're still always perfecting your form, I guess. And it can
Mhm.
vary, right? Because our energy varies, our sleep varies, our where we are in our cycle varies. So yeah, from like one week to the next, we could be doing an RDL perfectly one week, and the next week we don't quite engage our lats properly, or
Yeah.
we don't, we use more of our upper body than our legs to push. And it's these refinements. And when you said that in the
Mhm.
context of RDLs, it was such a relief to hear because the same is true of messaging, the same is true of launching, the
Mm.
same is true in so many things in business. Just because we know how, it doesn't mean that our execution of it every time is hitting the mark. And being willing
Mm.
to take on that feedback, always striving for the best we can do with what we have available to us
Yeah.
was such a powerful lesson to me that just seemed to resonate in so many areas of my life.
Oh,
But
good.
specifically with workouts, it is something like an RDL. It's a complex move and it's a
Yeah.
timeless classic. We don't need to be doing like crazy moves in the gym to be creating amazing
Mhm.
results. It is the like, classic moves that work over and over again.
And like usually, like you said, it's actually the non-sexy moves. I'll just rephrase it. It's the non-sexy moves that get you the sexiest results, not the crazy moves. You maybe did this too, right? Where you worked out, maybe you had crazy workouts like I did for so many years. And it's like, my body never changed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the crazier the workout, the better in my mind. And I'm like, yeah, but it did not get me where I wanted to be.
Right.
So
Exactly. Yeah. And it's
it
funny.
is mastering the basics.
Mastering the bait. Like I went through a phase of working out with my partner and him being a guy, I was blown away that for like 3 of the 4 sessions we did in a week, 3 of them would be upper body. I'm like, what? Surely your upper body is just like arms and
That
torso.
does not
Like,
surprise me.
like, surely that's my work, but equally if it's me doing the workouts, it would be like 2 or 3 focused on legs only, legs and glutes,
Yeah.
and then one on upper body, which is like the
Yeah.
classic man woman split. But yeah, it is doing the basics. And like for me, for example, perfecting without the heaviness of perfection, but perfecting my squat. I'm surprisingly strong on my legs, but doing a squat, I really struggled with a year ago.
Yeah.
Even if I
They're
could,
tough.
yeah, even if I could use a machine and press like 70, 80 kg on a machine on the leg press,
Mhm.
I wasn't able to do a squat over 30 or 40 because I didn't have the mobility, I didn't have the balance,
Mm,
I didn't have the
yeah.
trust in my body, and I was noticing like injury in my lower back. And
Yeah.
it was like, actually, no, I really do need to take the time
Yeah.
to let go of the ego and being like, oh, I should be able to be stronger than this, and focusing on form and doing it well
Mhm.
and building up my squats to now what is
Yeah.
actually challenging from a weight perspective, but getting the form right is so key. And I couldn't have done that
It
without
is, and
PT.
I also, like, something I've noticed in all my years of coaching, because I've worked with a lot of different people, right? And I've even worked with people who used to be personal trainers.
Mm,
And whether it's somebody who's been lifting for years or maybe just a few, of course, beginners, they probably don't have as best form because they're just learning. But even with people who've been lifting for 5 to 10 years, I'm still fixing their form. And I just wish more people understood that, like, you could be working out for years and still not be doing things right. Not to be mean or say that's bad, but it's like, has anybody taught you the right way, or have you been open to learning the right way so that you're actually getting something out of the work that you're putting in?
yeah.
Because you cannot fix your own form just by looking in a mirror watching a video. Like, I don't, you just can't. Especially if you're not a fitness professional, you know?
Yeah.
Having somebody on the outside look at your form, and literally, like, when I work on the form with my clients, I have them send me videos because it's all virtual. I give them separate cues for separate things, so we work away at it. So it's like brick by brick, we work on it a little bit each week, and you just continually refine it. And yeah, like, I'm still refining my RDLs. It's probably one of the hardest exercises for me because I always want to bend my knees too much. But, like, it's just little by little.
The other day you shared this post and it blew my mind. I'm going to read it for everyone here. Oh, Facebook has reset, so let me find it. So
It
give me a second. I promise it's worth the wait. It was so good. It
was one of
stopped
those
the
moments when I
scroll.
just had this yeah, I, like, had this idea come to me. I'm like, "That is the best thought I've had all week."
It like blew my mind. And then I was like mad about it. And then I realized it was true. So this was the post that Janae shared. And I'm going to then ask her to dive into it a bit more. You said, some of y'all need to be patient when you don't have the body you want in 6 months or less, when in reality, the body you want takes 5 years plus to build. Patience, baby, and a kiss. And I was like, what? How dare you? And again, like, because I guess because I live and breathe
Um,
my business and I'm a business coach, the truth of that with your body, it's 100% true. And also, it's true of a business. You can make massive strides
mhm,
in 6 months for sure. There's a reason we
mhm,
have 6 month coaching containers and not 5 year coaching containers, even though it
right.
probably could be a 5 year coaching container. But you're right. These things, this is the long game. Your body is for life. Your business is for life, really. It's same. But tell me more about that.
Yeah, and I know that post probably hated just you, but, I have to speak my truth. I'm not watering things down. But I really put that up because I wanted people to not throw in the towel so fast. And it just seems sometimes like people give up on their fitness so fast. If there's anything they're going to give up, they're going to give up their fitness. They're going to stop working with their coach or throw in the towel. Life's too busy, whatever. And I see people getting very frustrated. But the body that most women want takes years to build. I actually almost wrote 10 years on that post, and then I switched it to 5. So it wasn't maybe so in your face. But the reality is like, it does take a long time. It takes a long time to build muscle, a lot longer than it takes to lose fat. And one thing that you'll probably take away from this podcast is most women are only going to gain about 1 pound of muscle per month when they're lifting strategically, which is not a lot. It might be less. But it like I said earlier in the podcast, going through these cycles of building, cutting, or maybe being at maintenance for a while, which most women are never at maintenance because they're always trying to lose. That's really how you build your body, is going through these phases. And it's like you're chipping away at the sculpture. You're building muscle, you're cutting down, you're building muscle, you're cutting down. Like I always like to use bodybuilding as an example because it is the easiest way to understand it. But it's like if you're building your best physique, it takes years. You build muscle, you drop, you build, you cut. And that's how bodybuilders do it too. So even if you don't want to compete, you can still adopt the same rules and the same process. You just don't have to go as extreme with the cutting because you're not trying to get stage lean, but you can still go through the same process of building muscle. Then we do a cut. But most women stay in that deficit for years.
Mm.
Or they've been working out for years, but not doing the right things, which is why their body never changes. So again, it does take time. And I think people in fitness just get really frustrated when they don't get results as quick as they want. And also because you don't always see your body changing as much. But a lot of people, they just expect these outrageous results in a short period of time. It is the long game. It's the
It is.
long game. Like your business too, right? It's like some people do see massive success in a very short amount of time, but that's not the norm. And like, yeah, your body is not a machine. It takes time.
It does. It does. And I'll leave on a trend I've seen, and it's because fitness is something I care about. I've always enjoyed working out, always been very invested in my personal fitness. And something I have observed, and this is not a judgment on anyone who doesn't fit this bill, but I have also genuinely seen a correlation with those who are very high achieving and doing things in their business and creating momentum in their business, creating success in their business. It's very common for there to also be a big emphasis on personal care, personal fitness, and
Hmm.
developing that, because the mental health is just as valuable. A few months ago,
Yeah.
I I went from going to the gym to joining I've mentioned it on the podcast before, but I've joined a fitness group class where I wasn't having to take on the mental load of figuring out what to
Hmm.
do when I'm already taking on such a mental load of growing my
Right.
business. And that for me was a move to support my mental health more as much as sustaining the fitness that I'd developed. And
Yeah.
that has been a game changer for me in the last
Good.
like 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's just valuable to try new things. It helps with productivity. It's helped me with productivity.
Hmm.
It's helped me sustain the mental health that I need to be able to be as powerful as I want to be in my business. I definitely correlate
Right.
the two, and I see that a lot with other coaches as well who have a positive relationship with fitness. For them,
Mm-hmm.
the two go hand in hand very much so. I'm not saying that's the case for absolutely
Yeah.
everybody, but I do see that correlation.
That
So
if
does
you
that
even
make
think about
sense?
some of the most successful, like Tony Robbins and other successful people that, like celebrities you can think of, a lot of them have they really do like fitness, their nutrition, all of that stuff. Their morning routine is so, so important because like you have to take care of yourself mentally and physically if you're going to be successful. Like they do go hand in hand. 100%. I think so.
Yeah.
It's very important, the two.
Yeah. So hopefully this has encouraged everyone to stick with it or go back to it, but most importantly, like really look at the relationship with nutrition and fitness. Hire help, hire Janae ASAP. We'll share how you can connect to her and follow her and work with her in a minute, but do it with professional guidance. I can honestly say I've been working out since I was, I think, 17, and anytime I'm doing it with a professional, the results are better. The
Mhm.
outcomes are more tangible, the consistency is improved. I mean, it's all the same reasons we hire a business coach or hire coaching in other areas of our life. It is
Mhm.
the same for our fitness and our nutrition too. So,
Yeah, and it'll save
Janae,
you years of mistakes, right? Like if
yeah.
when you like sometimes I don't work with as many beginners as I used to. I do love working with as long as it's the right fit, but I've had a couple clients where they were very brand new and it was so fun to teach them everything from the start because I knew as well that I was saving them years of doing it wrong that if they were trying to figure out on their own. So they were far further ahead because they hired somebody right from the start. So it is valuable. And if you have a good coach, like you will learn stuff that you will take with you for the rest of your life. No doubt about it. It will be life changing.
Agreed, for sure. So, how can people find you and how can they work with you?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram and Facebook, or I'm on TikTok too. I'm on all the things, but Instagram is probably the best place to find me. Janae K Fit is my Instagram name, and if you're not sure how to spell it, Pamela will have it in the notes. I do have one-on-one coaching spots available. I'm going to be opening a group program here, so whichever one is a better fit for you, we can talk about that and get you help. But yeah, you can message me on Instagram and we can have a chat.
Perfect. And for everyone listening, if you want to connect with me and get any coaching support with your business, then you can find me at Coaching with Pamela and by the same name on Instagram. And all the links to Janae's socials will be in the show notes. Janae, thanks so much for joining. It was lovely to have you and to
Yeah,
discuss all the things. And for
thank
everyone
you so
else,
much.
I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.